It's working.
Howdy, farm friends. We are back. We are trying to get our YouTube live feed to work for us, as well as our Facebook at the same time. For some reason, it's just not going well for us tonight, but we're going to do our very best now. And let's see here. Maybe it's working. Let's see. I'm back over on the YouTube feed now to see if it's playing. Yeah, okay. There we are on YouTube. So, howdy, folks. Sorry that we got mixed up there. So we're going to give everybody just a minute to jump back on. Facebook is processing our live from earlier, so here we go.
There we are.
Alrighty, so we're seeing folks jumping on.
Oh,
there
goodness.
we go. Let's see, yes.
Hey, friends.
All right, everybody's jumping in now. So,
Gosh.
Jacqueline, will you tell them about
Yeah.
Peak of the Week one more
Yeah.
time?
So on Wednesdays for the rest of the year, we're going to be doing something we're calling Peak of the Week, because it's Wednesday night. It's the peak of the week. We're headed for the weekend, and we're just going to be on here hanging out with you. We're going to go live at hopefully 5 o'clock every Wednesday for the rest of the year. And that is because our Wednesday night church activities have concluded for the rest of the year. We're usually at church dinner, and then the different classes that we attend, and Eleanor's with Children's Church, but we conclude our activities before the holidays so that everybody can spend time with their families, and we have lots of extra things happening at church around the holidays. So Wednesday nights are now free, and we are able to be on here with you all, which we're excited about. And I was saying, I've got my coffee. It's chilly where we are. I'm sure it's chilly where you are, unless you're somewhere tropical or in South Florida maybe. But all the temperatures I've seen have been low. And so grab a warm drink and come hang out with us. We have a lot to share.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on around the farm and off farm right now. We have been enjoying spending some time with friends and with one another over the last couple of weeks, and it's a busy season.
We're making decisions for the farm.
That's right.
About things that we want to do, big dreams that we have, things that maybe we need to change that haven't worked for us. So we've got a video coming out tomorrow that is going to be a project that we did for the pigs, a quick project that I did, and then what Zach has been up to in our fall and winter garden. And if you saw our video we put out on Monday, if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check that out later. But Zach plants our Chandler strawberries from Haas.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't start those from seed. We got a lot of questions about that, asking if we started them from seed. They were already started plugs, little plants with good root systems already that come in a tray from Haas. And I love that they were already started. They are super healthy. They are growing already.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 green stalks that we have planted those in, and I can't wait until they're just like running and overflowing it, because I think those plants are going to cover the green stalks. I don't think you're going to be able to see the green stalks.
I hope so. That's the idea. That's my hope. And also, as those strawberries start to grow in the spring, once it heats back up again, they're going to start putting out these shoots with small little strawberry plants on them. So we'll be able to propagate some more onion plants. I mean, not onion plants, sorry. I saw someone mention the onion dance that I did over on Facebook earlier.
And I haven't seen it yet. I've been seeing the comments.
Man.
I haven't. I can imagine. I can imagine what that is like.
Christina says it all right there. Christina Sargent says,
Nice pole work. What did you do? What has he been doing?
Yeah,
Zach?
I just had a little bit of fun in the garden after planting the onions. But
Hey, if you can't have fun in your own garden,
Yeah, you're in trouble. You shouldn't be gardening if you're not having fun.
Hey,
so.
tell them what I told you when you got home today. What did I tell you?
Y'all. So I got home, and Jacqueline says, "Hey, I just noticed that the garden fence is wide open, and the garden gate is wide open, and there are chickens in there."
Eleanor had her Thanksgiving lunch at school today, so I got chicken and dressing and green bean casserole and rolls and sweet potato casserole. I got all the good stuff today, even though Thanksgiving is next week. But I had to run out the door to make it to her school to have lunch with her. And as I was leaving, I looked out the back door and I saw the garden gate standing open, and I was like, oh no. I didn't have time to go down there. I had no time. And I knew he was coming home. And after I got home from the school, I was like, Zach, the gate's open. The gate's open.
Yeah, so I said some dirty words and then ran down to the garden, put on my boots real quick and ran down to the garden. And luckily, the chickens had not messed with anything in the garden.
That he could tell.
Yeah.
But
I've noticed lately that they haven't been going after any plants.
Yeah. They're looking for the bugs.
They've been picking around plants, even like our plants that are up at the house. I put out a reel on Facebook this morning of a bunch of chickens coming up on the porch and said, this is how they let me know that they're ready for breakfast, is they're up basically at the back door. And so I went out, or I just kind of videoed out the door, and a couple of them started pecking at the planter where I've got a few little strawberry starts that I haven't put into a pot yet, and they were just kind of pecking around at the dirt looking for bugs and stuff. So luckily that's what happened in the garden. They didn't tear anything up, but I will say this, we had some heavy rain that lasted about a day. I mean, we had to have had at least a couple of inches, because when I went down to feed the goats this afternoon, there was water sitting in their feeder. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, and it was that deep or so, about 2 inches deep. So, but all that to say, this rain, along with the cold weather, has done a number on a good bit of our garden starts. So, yeah.
It got cold earlier than what we were expecting, and I would put money, don't bet much, but I would put money on it being back up into the 80s in the next 20 days.
Oh, yeah. I was talking
if not sooner.
I was texting with Wes from Big Family Small Farm and Jason from Cog Hill, and we were talking about how ridiculous the weather is flopping back and forth. And I said, oh, we'll definitely have another 80-degree day before the end of the year.
It was 85 on Christmas Day, like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that Christmas we actually had tornadoes.
Yeah, we had tornado warnings, and we had to go hide out in your grandparents' basement.
Yeah, that was wild. Eleanor was, I think, 2, so it hasn't been too long ago. But our weather in the South, that's just how it is. If you're from the South, you know, and I'm sure if you're from somewhere else, you have some crazy weather extremes as well. No matter what end of the spectrum that's on.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, we've got a bunch of folks joining us from all over the world tonight. So, howdy, folks. I'm seeing some Michiganders, California, Sydney, Australia, Georgia. Let's see
California.
here.
Did you say California?
I did say California, but there's another California, Southern California there, so we'll say it twice.
That's a whole other part of the country, really.
It might as well be another country. It's pretty crazy. Niagara Falls, Chicago. Let's see here. I see Miss Sue from Orlando over there. Don't even have to tell us where you're at, Sue. We know that.
Our Facebook comments are down here on our phone, and then YouTube is up here.
Yeah.
So if you see me looking down, I'm reading down there.
Just had somebody from the UK, Fort Myers, Florida down here. So we're so glad to have y'all with us. I saw somebody say that it was 31 degrees where they were, and they were up north somewhere. Sorry, I skipped over it, but wherever you are, sorry about that. We'll be down that low. We'll be lower than that tomorrow night. And let's see here. Miss
I love
Melissa
it.
asks,
I love
"Where's
Well,
Eleanor?"
here she is, Melissa. She's here.
Can you wave to Miss Melissa? Say hey.
She had a big day at school. Mommy came for the Thanksgiving lunch, and then we went to the Scholastic Book Fair.
Yeah, the weakness of every elementary school kid, and honestly, us too. And nerdy adults.
Yeah, we got some good books. And her reading is getting better and better. And for a kid that just turned 6, she's doing great.
Yes, she last night and the night before last, Monday night, she was reading to us very well, and I was surprised. I shouldn't be surprised anymore by Eleanor.
No. Yeah, she has always been a unique and a very old soul is the way I describe her. She's always been that way.
Yeah, she gets it honest. I've been an old man since I was a baby, so
an old man since you were a baby.
I have.
Oh
been.
my goodness.
If I am, I feel like I'm like an 80-year-old in this 31-year-old body. So.
Well, we wanted to share with y'all something that we did on Sunday. On Sunday, we went to church, and then we left church, and we headed straight out to the Clanton area to our friends at Chestnut Hills Farmstead. And if you know anything about them, if you don't, we're about to tell you.
Well, I mean, look how excited I am. There are really only a few things that I get this excited for. And one of the ones that we can talk about live on this family channel is food.
If you don't know about Chestnut Hills Farmstead, then we're going to tell you. And if you do, you've seen some of this stuff before, but these are Scotchies. First off, Chestnut Hills Farmstead is Zoe and Nick Baker, and they have a farm where they are doing pasture-raised turkey and chicken, and I feel like I'm missing something, and pigs. And pigs.
And, they have goats,
and then they've got
that's not the same
they've
thing.
got pet goats and they've got pet mini donkeys. But Zoe bakes, and when I say Zoe bakes, like I bake. I mean, it's like more of an art form.
Yeah, Zoe though.
This is she's way beyond.
Zoe is
way beyond my
fantastic.
skills. She gave us multiple bags of these. This is the only one left. This is it. This is butterscotch cookies.
They're so good.
Butterscotch cookies.
And y'all.
Look how thick this cookie is, and it's just loaded with butterscotch. And I'm not gonna eat it right this second because then I won't be able to talk because I have to get through this because she gave us a bunch of goodies. And the reason we were there is because they have hired me to do a website for them, and they are so excited. And Nick just kept saying, never thought I'd need a website. Never thought I'd need a website. And I said, Nick, you do. He knows he does. They know they're to that point, which I'm so happy for them. They have a YouTube channel where they share about their farm and their animals and what they're doing, because they are doing the farm side very heavily, and it's awesome. But Zoe bakes, and she is shipping her baked goods. If you're interested in anything that you see, go to their Facebook page, Chestnut Hills Farmstead. And then also we're going to put up their email in the comments so that you can see their email that she sent to me. You can also order by email, but she's got her price lists on Facebook, which is super helpful.
I'll get the email up in the comments for y'all.
So this one, I'm going to do this one first.
And y'all, you know that we love y'all because this was Sunday that we visited
This
them.
is Sunday.
And
I was like, we got to go live on Monday, and we absolutely couldn't go live on Monday, and we couldn't yesterday. We had to wait until Wednesday. So these goodies have had to wait. We've had to keep them in the house.
y'all,
It's a miracle.
it is. It really is, especially because I was not feeling well Monday, so I was at home all day. Tuesday, yesterday, was a work from home day for me, so that's 2 whole days that I've spent here on the farm, and I didn't eat. Okay, I can't say I didn't eat any of it. I didn't eat all of it.
Okay, I'm gonna show y'all. So this is a chocolate chip. I gotta make sure I say this right. All right, this is a chocolate chip cookie sandwich. Chocolate chip cookie sandwich. How beautiful is that? And when their website is done, they are going to be selling these items on their website as well. And you can, like I said, you can order on their Facebook page via message to them or through the email that Zach, he has put it up in the comments on YouTube, and I think it's going up on Facebook right now. But look how big this is. I mean, if Santa comes to my house, which I know he's going to come to my house. Santa's going to come to my house. But if Santa brings me something, Santa, I really...
If you're listening, Santa.
Santa, if you're listening, I really, really want this in my stocking, please. I saw this one in the comments already. I saw it. Julie M. said, whoopie pies. Our friends at Cog Hill have been talking about these, and we have not tried this yet. We're going to try it in just a second. But I know it is going to be so, so, so good.
That was probably the most difficult thing not to eat.
Yeah.
Here. Okay, so real quick, there's a graphic up, and I'm going to move it over in front of me real quick.
So that I can hold stuff up in the middle.
She can hold stuff up in the middle.
All right,
and
I'm breaking it in half.
That's the information about Nick and Zoe over at Chestnut Hills Farmstead. That's the information about their live that's going to be later tonight. So that
it's all in my hair.
If you are going to be online later and want to join them for their live, it's definitely worth it. They are great folks, and we had a good time watching their live the other night too and commenting.
This is so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
man.
I'm about to try too.
There's like... So this is the oatmeal cream pie. Yeah. This is the oatmeal cream pie, aka whoopie pie.
Y'all.
And it has, it's definitely got brown sugar. It is so good. And it's not overwhelmingly sweet to where it makes, Zach says it makes your mouth itch if something is too sweet. I'm sorry.
Your teeth itch.
It makes his teeth itch, which is the weirdest explanation I have ever heard for like sensitive teeth or like something being too sweet. It kills me every single time.
But this is so
good.
Other than it makes your teeth itch.
But
this
crazy,
does not.
This has been sitting for 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's so I'm not gonna say moist. I just said moist. But it's so soft still. It's very soft and so good. Especially with my coffee.
Julie said, look who got the largest half of the whoopie pie.
That's telling, isn't it? That is telling. I think
Man, y'all.
I gotta go let Lady out.
The thing is, like, it's not just good because of the, like, cream icing inside. Like, you could definitely hide just like a decent cookie behind a really good sweet icing or cream on the inside. But the thing is, the cookie here is amazing,
Yeah,
and that's what makes it. So yeah, all that to say,
So good.
It's not overly sweet. The cookies are fantastic. Zoe, if you're watching right now, we're gonna be on the order list probably next week.
Well, I gave some major hints to Santa.
That's true.
He better be listening.
Yeah.
So there's something else. So the sweets are awesome. And we've also got a fudge sandwich here. and I'm gonna open it and I'm gonna try a bite of it, and then I'm gonna show you a savory treat that I have not been able to get enough of. Oh yeah. So this is like, so hard to tell. It's a sandwich too, but it's got fudge in the middle.
Like a fudge round.
Yes. That is awesome.
Y'all, wait until Eleanor realizes that
What we're doing?
this.
She's just right there.
Mm. Yep.
Sorry for the silence, y'all.
Not sorry.
Mm.
Well, I'm sorry to Little Debbie because that's
Who is
so
Little
good.
Debbie?
Yeah, Little who?
All I know is Zoe Baker. So, the sweet treats are absolutely delicious, and I told y'all, I ate an entire bag of these. I was like, ooh, I'll grab these on my way out the door, go into work, I'll share them with people at the office. I didn't share any. They were gone before I actually made it into the door at the office, which was bad. It was only 3 cookies.
Yep. So
But that was my lunch.
Carmen said on YouTube that she can't. My body can't handle tasty things like that due to health issues. Maybe
These.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting to these.
Maybe
She-
the savory stuff.
Zoe doesn't just do sweets at all.
And
It's
Sue,
so
I'm
much more
glad
than
that your
sweets.
comment is on Facebook and not out loud because she can't hear you.
Oh.
She said, Eleanor, run quick before it's all gone. Don't worry, she'll
Wait,
get some
There's
of it.
plenty. Zoe really set us up. She
She
gave us like a
did.
cooler bag full of stuff. So
Yeah.
what I didn't, Zoe, I have to tell you what I didn't get enough of is these, y'all. If you like cheese straws, I know they're a very common holiday and like baby shower, wedding shower type thing. These are like cheese straw cookies. Can you see that? Has the almonds in there. I don't know what all nuts are in there, but I know almonds.
Oh, no.
And
Somebody
she's-
heard us.
She's made it in here. All you saw was her hand.
Is that good stuff?
There's a brownie cookie.
It's a fudge cookie. Oh, ladies back.
Can you let
Go
Lady
let
in,
lady in,
please?
and then you can come back. So these are like cheese straw, but cookies. She said she makes like a cheese straw batter dough log and then slices it up and makes cookies. And they are like the perfect thickness. They
really
are. The smell is so good. This bag was full. This is what we hit hard. We being me. We being me.
We sat down
In the
here.
car. In the car.
Well, no. We sat down right here, right before we started the live the first time, and so I said, "Do we have everything that you wanted?" I asked Jacqueline that, and she said, "Well,
my
we
gosh.
ate all of the cheese straw cookies," and I said, You ate all those," and she tried to play it off like she didn't. I think I ate 2 of them. So there's that. Eleanor, did you get one of the cheese?
But they
cookies?
weren't all
No,
gone.
Eleanor didn't even get one yet.
I just slightly hid them from myself so that they would be somewhere. And I thought he got them and ate them. But y'all, these are so good. I'm going to be ordering some of these for Christmas. And for Christmas gifts, I'm going to get some for my dad. My dad is all about cheese straws, and your family is too. So they have absolutely got to have some of these because I'm not gonna have any to share to let them try. So I gotta get some more. Gotta get some more for gifts. But I absolutely love these. Slightly spicy. Very, very, very good. I gotta chew faster.
Have you told them about the bread?
You come tell them.
Cliff
Come here.
said it looks like it's going to be a hyper night here tonight. I don't think so.
Nah.
I promise y'all that last time we did the live, Eleanor was not feeling well, and it was the
Yeah.
fever that had her going
Well,
like that, and medicine, I guess.
kids, if you've had young kids in the last little bit, a lot of these medicines that bring down fevers and are like decongestants can have an effect on their mood or really their behavior. And here, just get the roll. Just get the whole thing. Here you go. And that's what was happening too. It was out of character.
Hey,
for her.
Eleanor, did you hear Miss Sue yelling at you? Is that how you knew how you knew to come in here?
No.
Miss Sue was yelling to you, telling you that we had goodies in here.
So this is a pan of rolls, and as you can see, they're half gone because Eleanor loves them. Eleanor's over here.
Yes, Eleanor ate them.
Eleanor loves them, and so does Zach, and so do I. We are having baked fish tonight and some broccoli, and we're gonna have, these are everything bagel rolls.
Y'all, so good. And the one thing that we did get, I think the only thing that we did get that we don't have to show right now is Zoe gave us a loaf of fresh bread.
Oh yeah, we can't show that because it's gone. It's gone.
There was no way that was still
Zoe,
going to be.
I forgot to ask you what kind of bread that was. If you could put it in the chat so I can know. I didn't think it was sourdough.
It was just.
It was so good. I actually
really clean, fresh tasting bread.
Yeah,
it was just
a big loaf
Oh, it
too.
was so good.
I made cinnamon toast with some of it this week, and it was just absolutely delicious. Eleanor had some in her lunches. So good. But
And,
we wanted to share these goodies.
Yeah, and Zoe is commenting over on YouTube. That's who Chestnut Hills Farmstead is. That's who we've been talking about. They are going to go live at 8 o'clock on their YouTube and their Facebook tonight. So if you want more information on them, make sure and check them out that way. But just so our folks over on Facebook know what she was saying, she said that her favorite thing to bake is these cheese straw cracker cookie thingies. That she bakes them for others, but she adds some extra dough for herself, and then she gets mad when the kids ask for one.
That's all right. It's okay to do stuff that's just for you.
Let's see. And Zoe also said it's just a white yeast bread that we love. And she said, "You're so sweet. Thank you so much. I love people with food." And then she corrected herself. "I love on people with food." But here's the thing, Zoe. I just love people with food.
Yeah, true. Very, very,
Whoever's
very
got the food.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
So we wanted to share that with y'all and tell you a little bit about what we did this weekend, specifically on Sunday afternoon. We headed out there and I got some awesome pictures. I cannot wait for y'all to see them. Chestnut Hills, Nick and Zoe. I know that they are excited about their website, and that is going to be coming very soon. Their place is beautiful, and if you haven't seen it, if you don't follow Miss Tracy Britnell over at Just Dig It Farms, they are on YouTube and on Facebook. If you don't follow her, she's been doing an In Her Boots series, and she just shared Zoe at Chestnut Hills interview, where Zoe shares her testimony, which was really impactful for me to hear. And I really, really enjoyed watching that and seeing their journey and seeing her share that. So I appreciate you sharing that, Zoe, and I'm so glad that we have met and that we are making so many friends. It is wonderful. Eleanor's drawing me some pictures.
Eleanor has some art.
Yeah, I'm going to share it
We
because I'm
can't
proud
share
of it.
all the Eleanor art, but we will share some.
She has drawn a can of beans. She has drawn a smiling pineapple, a Pop-Tart kitty cat with rainbows, cherries, it's opposite, so cherries, and a flower. That's beautiful.
Way
Very
to
good
go,
work.
Eleanor.
I'm going to try to write their website down here.
Okay.
Okay, you go try that.
Oh, goodness. So if you want to place an order with Chestnut Hills, go to their Facebook page, Chestnut Hills Farmstead, or Zach shared their email address. But if you go to their Facebook page, you can see the price list and everything too.
And I'm going to share that email address in the YouTube chat one more time so that for anybody that joined us as we were enjoying those goodies, you may not be able to go all the way back in the live chat, but now you can see it. And if you're on Facebook, just go to their Facebook page because that's a good way to do it. So it's Chestnut Hills Farmstead. And I'm going to put this back up one more time before we talk about anything else, just to plug their live one more time. It's going to be at 8 o'clock tonight on YouTube and Facebook. So if you want more information, you can check them out there.
Yeah. So since Rooster broke out of the pig pen, we have been trying to spend a lot more time with them inside the pen. They don't ever leave the pen. It's plenty big for them, but we've been trying to spend a lot more time with them. And something I have noticed, for one of the girls was definitely in heat recently, and that has really, really ramped up their behavior. And it's not necessarily bad. It's never bad towards us, but Peanut, our Cooney, she has just become very, it's not aggression. It's not aggression. She's very, I don't know, quick-tempered. It really seems like she's got a short fuse where any little thing that the other pigs do, she's really quick to jump on trying to correct them or hog the food. They said it's not aggression, but I was just out there, and it'll probably be in tomorrow's video, but she was barking at me. Pigs bark. Pigs very, very clearly bark. And it's something I had not witnessed until we moved the pigs for the first time, and Rooster barked at me. But it'll be in the video tomorrow, so you'll get to see Peanut bark at me. And there was also a moment where I was petting Rooster. I'm out there in my nice clothes. I do that all the time. I leave work, I come home from being somewhere, and I'll say, I'm just walking outside for just a second. I just go walk outside for a second. But I don't know why I do that to myself, because I know if I walk outside, I'm going to see something that I could do or that needs to be done, and I'm going to start doing it, and I'm not going to come back inside and change clothes. So I'm out there in my good clothes, and I'm filming, and I'm hanging out with the pigs, and I'm petting the top of Rooster's head, and I'm scratching behind his ears. And I swear to you, he was about to jump up on me like a dog. Like an 80-pound pig was about to just take his little legs and stick them up on mine to come closer for me to keep petting him. Yeah. And I'm like, I backed up. I was like, Rooster, you're not a puppy.
It's crazy how just like night and day the difference can be with him. Either he's in a mood where he wants to be loved on and get really close to you and will like rub against your legs and everything, and then it's either that or it's like he's terrified of you and doesn't want to be near you.
I haven't mentioned this to Zach yet, but I'm gonna give it some time, but I'm not sure if Peanut is gonna end up being a great fit to stay here. Because Rooster's personality, like you're saying, it can flip, but it's really, I really think it has a lot to do with Peanut. I think it has a lot to do with Peanut's bossiness. And it's also made Lucille, she's always further back, too.
Also, something that I noticed about Lucille is that I think it's when Peanut goes into heat, Lucille just gets after Peanut. And so a lot of times it's more like Peanut's trying to be the boss, but when it's, every so often, Lucille just goes after Peanut and bites her. And I mean, it's just constantly biting her most of the time on her hip.
Yeah. She had her tail the other day. She had her tail the other day. And they're not physically injuring each other
No.
or anything like that.
They're just annoying the stew out of each other.
Yeah, and it's making their personalities change. So I'm just observing for now, just seeing. We may need to make some changes. I don't think I would separate them and have like separate pasture areas for them. I think it would just have to be a decision on rehoming. And we've got great friends that raise and breed coonies where Peanut could go. But it's just something that's kind of on my mind right now. I love them. I love them so much.
Mm-hmm.
But if Peanut is gonna, she didn't charge me earlier. But I mean, her coming after me, barking at me, I didn't have to move out of her way. But if she starts acting like she's gonna bite, that's gonna be a problem, and that's kind of what I was seeing. But I
don't know. Maybe she won't go quite that far, and she's still really young.
Yeah,
so,
she's just over a year. She's just over a year. I think she's been in heat maybe 4 times.
And
maybe less.
So so Rooster, our male pig, is the only one who is fixed.
Yeah. There's not really a reason to fix a girl pig.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I mean, people do if they have like an indoor pet pig.
Well, what
like
I mean is maybe it would change the hormonal levels to where she wouldn't be as aggressive during those times.
Like I said, they do that with, like, if you're going to have a... I hesitate to say the word mini pig because that's not a real thing. But any pig will keep growing as long as you feed it more and more.
I forget who it was that was talking about mini pigs the other day. I feel like I was watching somebody on a live and they were talking about...
Was it Lester?
No. I'm sorry, y'all, if it was you. I can't remember.
But yeah, I did a day in the life episode not too long ago where I filmed like what I typically do within a day, and it's a lot more than what was shown. That was just one day. But somebody that we know said, I am going to be interested to see how you handle things when it gets dark earlier. And that has kind of stuck in my mind because this is the first year where we have had goats, where we have had quite this many adult chickens. The garden, this is the first year we've had all that we have right now through this time of year, through this season. And so I kept thinking to myself, I'm going to be interested to see how I handle it too. And we have to be a team. We absolutely have to be a team. That's kind of what tomorrow's video is about. Because if we didn't divide and conquer all the time and work together,
there would be no garden dancing during the winter.
There would be no garden dancing.
And I say, you're going to hear me say winter all through the rest of the fall, just because in my mind,
it's our
we're
winter.
Already there.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I've been saying that too.
And that's the way it is. I can't remember what's the term. It's not equinox.
Solstice?
No, it's not solstice. Maybe it is equinox. No, I don't think it is. Y'all know what? Is it the equinox? Maybe. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. Well, equinox is like when there's the same amount. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. The same amount of daylight and nighttime, right? The equinox. And so once you get past that equinox in the fall, I just feel like it's winter. And maybe that's the separation. It is winter. I don't know. I'm showing my ignorance right now, but no, I don't think that's the separation. But when the days start to get shorter, that's what. But not even when they start to get shorter, but when.
What are you talking about right now?
When the nights are longer than the days. That's where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
When we get to that point,
that's
because
fall, is it not?
Yeah, but so it's not to that point until you get to the equinox. And then
you don't need that.
you get to that point and it starts to Anyways, y'all get what I'm saying, right? When the nights get
I'm
short,
lost.
it gets longer than the
I'm
days.
lost. It's now getting dark early, which
Yeah.
means when I get home from work, it's dark outside. And so I'm doing the bulk still of chores and everything in the morning when the sun is shining, but also when it's cold. Because it is cold in the mornings right now it's been cold, period. But it's cold in the mornings until the sun has had a chance to come out. It feels really good with the sun out, and the animals absolutely love that. But I've already been using this time, especially in the evenings when it's getting dark early like it is now. I'm finding myself reflecting more and remembering that in this season, it's a time to prepare for the next season. And it's a time to think about things that we can do that we can't do when we're spending our time maybe working the garden. And we have some big plans to start utilizing our barn for our animals. And that's something that it seems really obvious to other people that we would use a barn for animals.
Yeah.
But to this point, we've really struggled with wanting to use the barn for the animals because the barn is in the middle of our property. Like, if you drew all the way around our property, the barn is dead center. And it is our avenue, our walkway, our pathway from our silky pen, from the backyard, from where our ducks and geese stay, where our chickens stay. We call that the big pen. It's our path from there down to the pond. We have to go around the barn or through the middle of the barn. And so if we utilize the barn for the animals, we're going to be blocking 1 to 2 of those pathways. And I love the view around the left side of the barn. I love when you walk down that hill, and that's the path that the ducks take. If you've seen our videos, you've at some point, I'm sure, watched the ducks walk down the hill to the pond, and some of them fly down. And if we start utilizing the barn, which we're going to do, we've got to block that area. And so that's why it has taken us so long to do so, and for the fact that there are a ton of nails and staples and screws and old wire and stuff in the ground in that barn. And we have got to get all of that out before we can safely bring animals in there and them not have foot problems. So we have got some cleaning out to do. We've got I don't even know, hundreds and hundreds of pounds of lumber to clear out of one side of the barn and move up to our shop. But we are going to be taking y'all along for that very, very soon. And we're getting a new goat. We
Yes,
are
we
getting
are.
a new goat. And I don't know exactly when she is coming to the farm. And I said, you say those things and you're like, I'm not going to do this, or I'm never going to do that. Those are just dangerous words. Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we do that to ourselves?
I mean, it's good to have an idea it's good to set your boundaries and your limits, but you also have to, like anything else in life, you have to remember that things change, and that as you learn more or have more experiences, or in our case, you just are ready to take on more, then you can accept that change and move past those limits. I mean, it would be kind of sad if we had the same limits that we always had.
But we are getting a new goat, and since y'all are on this live, I will share it with you. It is actually Honey, our female goat's mother, our little doe. It is her mother, and the lady that we got Honey from, she makes goat's milk soap and lotion, and other goat's milk products, and she's decided that she wants to continue on with Nigerian dwarfs and then what they call mini Nubians, which are Nubians crossed with Nigerian dwarfs. She wants to stick with smaller breeds, and she is going to rehome all of her full-blooded Nubians. And she came to us first and asked if we were interested in Honey's mother. And her name is Willow. I have a feeling she will get a new name by our chief naming person, Eleanor. And it will probably be a breakfast food or a drink. But what is super special about us getting Willow, and the reason that we said yes, is she is being bred. And so come this spring, if everything goes as planned, which things can change with animals, but if everything goes as planned, we are going to have our first baby goats here on the farm. And I am so super excited about that. And that is the number one reason why we have got to utilize the barn. We have got to. And I mean, the barn is absolutely huge. And I saw a comment that said, I've never understood that. What is even in the barn?
No,
Meaning,
they were talking about the daylight savings.
Oh.
What is even in the barn?
Well, somebody said, the same person said, what is even in the barn? So what is even in the barn? We've never needed the barn for animals until we got the goats. I didn't want to put the chickens in there. I wanted them to be out because the barn is an area that when we have people over, we hang out. We've got a concrete table out front that's got succulents planted in it. That's where we do our pumpkin carving every year. I've always seen the barn as being more storage. It's where we store the lawnmowers. We don't store feed in there because we don't want to draw mice. It is just garden supplies, tools. It's stuff that can very easily go somewhere else. But there were things in the barn that were there when we moved here, and that is the main stuff that we've got to get out. There's a lot of wood. It's been wonderful that it was there, that it's there because we have used a ton of it on projects.
And we asked for that stuff to be left.
Yeah,
in
we
fact,
did.
we had it. I don't remember if it was officially written in, but we talked about having it officially written in to the sale agreement. So, to the purchase agreement. So we did ask for that stuff to be left there, and like Jacqueline was saying, it's been great to have that material there, and we've used an awful lot of it.
There was roofing metal. There still is some.
We used some 4x4s that were in there for fences and that sort of thing.
And there was a stall. There was one big stall in the barn, and by stall it was just like 3 high wood slat with a little gate stall in the barn when we first moved here. And the rest of it's a dirt and hay floor. It's not a concrete floor. And they opened up one part of the barn. The whole barn, the middle of it, is a pass-through. Like the wind just blows straight through. There's no doors. And so it's got a lot of air movement there. And then, I mean, the openings on the front of the barn are probably 20 by 20.
I don't know that they're that wide.
I know that ladder. How tall is the ladder?
I would think that
Maybe
they're probably 12 feet wide. That's a 10-foot ladder when you have it spread out. So I think it's probably 10 to 12 foot wide.
But they also opened up the side of the barn. They took some metal off because they had some show cattle. Not very many, but they had some show cattle here last, and that's only been 4 years, 3.5, 4 years since they were here. And so that's the last the barn was utilized for animals. But they needed a lot of airflow, and I really have not felt like, in order to predator proof as best we could an area in the barn, we were pretty much going to be building a second structure inside the barn. And so that's one reason I've never wanted to utilize it for chickens. Definitely not for ducks, because ducks are so incredibly messy. But it is time to utilize it for the goats. and for future goats and for potentially other hooved animals that we may end up getting down the road. So we're going to start with clearing out the side.
Mama, do you like
I
Yeah,
do.
we gotta just kind of get in the side area of it that it's got a wall that goes the length of the barn, and then a back wall, and then another wall that goes the length of the barn. And so it's a big area that honestly would be really
That's
good.
like 30 foot deep.
That's really no. It's bigger. It's got to be bigger than the garden, and the garden's 40 foot.
Okay.
I think that the barn itself is probably 50 by 50 ish, and so it goes 50 feet back, and then it's probably 20 feet across, and so it's a big space in there to hold any sort of animal and that sort of thing. And that's why
My sister brought her horse over after we first moved here just for the day. I was taking some pictures of him, and it was actually Christmas pictures. And seeing him in the barn, I was like, ooh, our barn is pretty big.
Yeah, it is.
When you see a full-size horse, for comparison, he was in the stall.
Yeah.
We took the stalls down so that we could fit different garden supplies in there, the wheel hoe and all that stuff. But we're going to do a farm tour very, very soon. We have 10 acres here, but we utilize, not counting where the house and the buildings are, we utilize maybe an acre. We don't use a lot of the space.
Yeah, that's probably about right. If
I say not counting the buildings.
If you only count the footprint of the established enclosures, so not what we call the big pen. If you add the big pen, because the big pen is probably about 2/3 of an acre, and so that with the others is probably 2 acres. But yeah, I think that's probably a good estimate. We really don't use as much of it as maybe we will in the future, but a lot of it is not readily available for use.
Yeah.
We've got almost 4 acres that's wooded, and it's down really low, and so it would be difficult to do much with it.
Yeah, and that has been another reason I haven't wanted to utilize the barn. I keep saying utilize, and I'm getting on my own nerves using the same word. That's one reason I haven't wanted to use it, is because our water runoff areas, and it's going to be something that we battle, and I already know going into this, in front of the barn where the animals walk in and out is going to be muddy when it rains. It's going to turn into a mud hole. So we are going to have to do some digging and try to reroute like down the side of the barn. But no matter what, there's always going to be a spot where they're making mud when it rains. And it's not that way right now. Where we have the animals in the pasture, any water drains away. It's a steady slope just about everywhere. So there's not really any standing water with the goats at all. And then the pigs, the pigs made their own wallow, and it fills up with water. But other than that, it stays nice and dry, and that means smell is down, and it's better for them. And so I know that's going to be a battle that we face once we do our fencing and start using that side. But I am looking forward to it because that means I can get more animals.
Something like that.
And we're going to have a super safe place for Willow and her babies.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That is the most important thing to me.
For anybody that is familiar with the way that we have the goats set up right now, it was always supposed to be very temporary. And so
absolutely.
We've kept them in the smaller area a little bit longer than what we initially thought we would, but
I'm glad though.
Yeah, I think that it's been
I'm really glad.
the best.
When I can walk outside and hear the coyotes howling across the street, I'm really glad that the goats are where they are and they're not in a bigger and more vulnerable pen. And then with what we're doing now, they'll be able to be put in a stall for the night. So I know that they'll be less likely to be messed with by anything.
Yeah. Vanita asked, who put the barn in there with the water draining toward it? Old timers would never.
Well, these old timers did.
Well, and there's
there's a lot of things.
There's probably several reasons for it. At one point, the property may have been split up through there, and so it could have been that the barn was built there during a time when that property didn't belong to the same as the house.
The barn is on the highest ground for that area.
And the landscape, I think, has changed since the barn was put there.
Yes.
We know that the pond itself was dug deeper around a decade ago. And so we know that there has been some earth movement.
And we know they built up our backyard. And we know they did that.
Yeah. And so it could be that the water that we're seeing now around the barn was not there until somewhat recently.
And it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It
well,
really
and
is.
It doesn't run through the barn.
No.
It runs along the barn.
Yeah.
And kind of that's the problem that we have the most, or that's where the biggest water problem with the barn is running down the side of the barn, because it kind of hits those pillars that are coming up out of the ground. And so that's something that we'll be doing as soon as I think it's good that we're waiting until actual winter, because a lot of the weeds and stuff will have died back, and so we can get to those areas without having to do quite as much work to clear all that out. But what I was going to say is that as we start to work on the barn, that's going to be one of the main things that we do, is reinforcing the pillars with concrete. And that way, hopefully it'll help the barn stay.
The pillars on that side are almost like telephone poles on the inside.
They basically
they're heavy
like
duty.
older telephone poles.
Yeah. Somebody said, I bet you need to use a metal detector in the barn. I bet there's some cool stuff in there. Eventually, Bruce, we will do a video on the stuff in the barn. There is like a little loft area where there are old windows. I can tell that some of them are transoms. And I got up there one time. I mean, it's high up in the barn, and there's not a way other than a ladder to get up in there. But I saw 1919, I think it was, written on the end of one of the windows. And so I think they came out of a really old house or something. It wasn't right here, because there never was a house on this area of this property. But I am excited to get up there one day, and it's going to have to be not in the summer when there are a bunch of bees and wasps.
Yeah. And the funny thing, so with the wasps, they're kind of a constant in the barn, except for when it gets really cold, obviously. But we really haven't had much of a problem with wasps. I haven't had any problem with anything that stings. Jacqueline.
I saw Tracy and Jean Britnell are on here from Just Dig It Farms. They're going to get you if you pester me about getting stung by things.
Yeah, so...
Oh, and poor Miss Sue. So when we were... I'm sorry. When we were at the Gulf Coast Homesteaders meetup, I was sitting next to Miss Sue and sitting with Jean and Tracy and Jason and Brooke, and A&W Mini Farm was standing there too. And we're all eating outside at a picnic table. And if y'all know anything about me, I have been stung by like 4 or 5 bees this summer. Big bumblebees, not honeybees, just out of nowhere, just popped and swelling up. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. Well, we were at Jason and Brooke's house. I'm sitting in a chair minding my own business, and I got stung by a yellow jacket on my arm. So fast forward, all this has happened to me just in the last couple of months. We're sitting there at the Gulf Coast Homesteaders meetup, and there is this yellow jacket. Now, I had just been stung, within a month, so the pain was still fresh in my mind. And where that one stung me was like right here, so I kept like hitting it on everything too, and so that the reminder of it was even worse. But I'm sitting there, and this yellow jacket is going around, and I've got all this delicious food. We're all picking out, and it's messing with me, just with me. And finally, it lights on a water bottle, and I took another water bottle, and I put my hand on top of the bottle and like hold it down, and I hit the other one, and I hit the yellow jacket, and the yellow jacket, it died. I did good. I didn't get stung. But when I did that, the water bottle went flying, and it went all over Miss Sue. And I am so sorry, Sue. She knows I'm sorry. But Jean was making fun of me, and Jason was making fun of me. It was just a little yellow jacket. I'm like, y'all have not been stung as many times as I have been stung lately.
And y'all, I would not laugh about her getting stung if it wasn't just absolutely ridiculous. I walked through the barn at least 3 times as many times as Jacqueline, probably way more than that, during this summer. And we had a bunch of bumblebees in the barn this summer that built a nest in the floor. And because it's just a dirt floor, and there was some hay and a box, and they built under the box. And I mean, I would walk through there several times a day, and then Jacqueline walks through there one time, not anywhere close to where the nest is. Just quickly
too.
Walks through the barn, and she gets stung. I mean, it happened
through
several
my jeans.
times.
I got stung through my jeans on my legs 2 times. And then the last time I got stung in the barn before, I was like, okay, Tracy's coming over. We're borrowing her bee suit, and you are taking care of these bees. Because I kept calling them. I'm like, they're evil. They're evil. I wouldn't let Eleanor go near the barn. It was terrible. The last time I was sitting on the lawnmower, I had seen no bees. The lawnmower wouldn't crank, and I was sitting there, and I was texting him, hey, the lawnmower's not cranking. Is there a reason? Did something happen? And I hear zzz, and I started looking around. I was like, where is it? Where is it? It was in my shirt. Somehow it had very quietly, I don't know if it was on the lawnmower, but it had quietly gotten into my shirt, then started buzzing and stung my neck. Somebody said I must be sweeter than others because yellow jackets are drawn to sugar. Maybe. But, oh my goodness, yeah, the yellow jacket pain, Miss Carmen, the yellow jacket pain, I would do anything. I would do anything to avoid that.
Well, the bumblebees were the craziest thing to me because it really was, I mean, I would move the box that they were under and they wouldn't mess with me. Like, one night...
They would start swarming, but wouldn't sting him.
Yeah. And I mean, it's
and I
during
would go
the day.
nowhere near it, and they would just... I would be wearing gray or black. It wasn't like I was wearing a flower shirt like I am now or something. It was just... They didn't like me. They really didn't like me.
I mean, I should have gotten stung dozens of times.
I gotta tell them something.
Oh, man.
I gotta tell y'all something. And Tracy's on here. So... I'm going on a road trip, and I am super excited about it. We have got some big things happening this week. We talked about that earlier. One of those big things is we have not had central heat. It sounds wild to me to say out loud, but we have not had central heat in our house working since spring of 2021.
Yeah.
Spring of 2021. So we went last winter without central heat, and it's now this winter. And we are having our furnace replaced this weekend. And I'm not going to be here for it, so I don't have to deal with the stress. He does. But it's not that we just haven't had the means to get heat, but we went through a whole ordeal all last winter with the gas companies, the parts, the manufacturing shortages. We have propane heat, and we could not get anyone reliable to work on our issues with our propane heat, and that was scary because it can explode, it can be leaking, it can kill us. Like, we are done with propane heat because we can't get reliable people to service and work on our equipment. So we're doing away totally with propane heat, and we're going all electric out of necessity. And I'm so excited because we've been using space heaters, we've got oil-filled heaters, we have got some heat strip blowing heaters. They work great. Zach, I know, is going to be thankful to have like actual thermostat heat, because I will run the heat all day so that the house gets really warm. So that when the temperatures start dropping at night, we are still warm, and it doesn't, we're not in the 50s in the house. We stay, 70, 71. Sometimes when we wake up, it'll be about 68, which tons of people keep their house on that already. So we haven't been suffering through or anything like that, but we are super excited to be getting that. And my little brother does heat and air, so we are very blessed to have somebody that can help us, who's just not certified in propane and can't work on propane. So I'm gonna be gone though. I'm gonna be gone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be gone with my buddy. Tracy Britnell asked me to go on a road trip with her to film some of her In Her Boots series. And I can't say where we're going because I can't give away future episodes, but we are going to be traveling to Tennessee and to Georgia, and I'm excited. And we're going to have some videos come out about it. And I get to be with my buddy a lot, and she's going to have a website coming out that I am working on, and we're going to workshop and work on a lot of that while we're in the car for those long hours. So that's going to be super fun. But what I need y'all's help. Tracy and I are trying to come up with a name for our little road trip. We're going to be gone all weekend. So I need name suggestions. I was like, Jacqueline and Tracy on the road. Like I'm not good with.
Mommy, I've heard of Tennessee. I know that there's a place there that I want you to visit for me.
Mhm.
I want
You
you
can
to
come here.
visit the Tennessee River for me. And
Okay.
I want you to find the Tennessee place, the Tennessee Aquarium for me.
Oh,
Visit
that's
that.
in Chattanooga.
Is there?
That's Tennessee. Eleanor said, Mommy, I want you to visit the Tennessee River for me and go to the aquarium.
That's one I want you to see. If you see some fish jumping, you need to take. And if there's new stuff at the Tennessee Aquarium, take pictures.
Yeah.
That's something you guys have to not forget.
I think Eleanor is excited that I'm going to be gone because she gets you all to herself.
Well, all to itself except for the guys installing
Yeah.
the
I'm about
and
to sneeze.
she's gonna sneeze.
Sorry.
She's gonna sneeze.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
just
liking
kidding.
these suggestions on Facebook. Wild Women Road Trip. Oh my goodness. If y'all have any name suggestions for mine and Tracy's road trip,
This
be
came
sure
in before the suggestions,
a big kerfuffle.
but I think it works really
I hope
well.
not, man. I hope not. I hope that we have. I'm gonna be praying. Our tires are good. That we don't have any vehicle issues. Oh, y'all, I haven't told them about what happened to me. There has been so much. There's been so
Ooh,
much.
y'all.
I know he's been through it lately. But yes, Tracy, we do need a fun name.
No,
I was
can't
like,
stop eating this whoopie pie.
T and J on the road. I have not come up with anything good. Nothing good. Homesteaders on the highway. I'm terrible on the fly. I really am. But lady farmers on the move.
Oh, that one's good from Joyce. These boots were made for walking and travel.
These boots were made for walking and travel, Tracy. That's good.
These boots were made for road trips.
These boots were made for road trips. That is fun. Y'all are better at this than I am. What?
Eleanor, I think you should come tell everybody that.
What did she say?
She said, Daddy, you have the best ideas.
Oh my goodness. So cute.
Oh, she doesn't want me to share that, so pretend like you didn't hear it. The boot scootin' boogie trip. I like that too. That's a good one.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
goodness.
Talk for a little bit.
So, yeah, we've had, Jacqueline had a breakdown in a vehicle. We were borrowing her parents' vehicle to go to the Homesteaders Conference, or the Homesteaders Meetup, the Gulf Coast Homesteaders Meetup several weeks ago. And goodness, has it been several or a couple? Anyways.
It has now.
Weeks ago,
Hi, lady.
we borrowed a vehicle because we weren't sure about our tires on our van and couldn't get in to get new tires put on leading up to the trip. And so Jacqueline was in town and had dropped Eleanor off at a church event and just completely broke down in the middle of a very busy street in Tuscaloosa. And luckily 2 police officers helped her out.
Yeah.
They were great. And I booked it into town to pick her up.
And it actually, the police were trying to tell me that the car overheated. I was like, no, the car didn't overheat. I know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I left a grocery store. I'd run in and out of 2 stores. And when I left the last store and cranked the car, it didn't necessarily struggle to turn over, but it took an extra turn to get the car to turn over. And it's a newer vehicle. But when it did turn over, there was just a slight plastic melting smell. Like, you know that smell. It's strong, it's off. Your brain immediately says, something's not right. Well, I thought, okay, maybe it's an outside smell. Maybe it's a smell, from another vehicle or something. So I back up and I go on the car. It acts totally fine. I turn onto the busy highway. And the car, it's smelling stronger, and I was like, oh, I don't think this is good. But there was nowhere that I could go. I was in a turn lane at a major intersection. Can't back up, I can't pull off. It's nothing but like a concrete curb. And so I make the turn, and I'm immediately going through a second intersection, and it's actually 6 lanes all the way across with a turning median in the middle. So I've got 3 lanes on my side, and there's 3 lanes on the other side. And I'm going through the intersection, and as I go through the intersection, the car totally cuts off, loses all electrical power, all power steering. Brakes are really hard to mash when that's happening. But I didn't mash the brakes because I just rolled through the busy intersection and just barely into the start of a turn lane before the vehicle wouldn't go anymore. Lost momentum, and I was like, oh no, because that intersection is not quite the busiest one. If it had happened at the one before, it would have been very, very scary. It was already scary, but I never take Lady anywhere. Lady was just up here. And I said, Lady, do you want to take Eleanor to church with me? And she was like, of course, she wants to go everywhere. I just never take her. And I was like, well, I'll take her this time. So I had the dog with me, and I never have the dog with me. So here Lady and I are sitting on this busy road in a college town. We're in Tuscaloosa, and it's dark. And the next thing that's happening at that red light is the cross traffic is turning into my lane. And so the traffic that's coming can't see that I'm stopped in the middle of that lane, like barely off to the side in that lane. And so people were flying up behind me and being very rude and laying down on their horns. I'm like, there's absolutely nothing I could do. Meanwhile, I'm in a pitch black car. I can't see anything because I have no electrical power. So I've got my phone. Lady's sitting in the passenger seat like nothing's happening at all. She's cool as a cucumber. And I'm trying to turn my flashlight on my phone so I can start looking for the hazard lights to try to see if the hazard lights will work so that somebody can see me sitting there. And the car is either blue or black. You know, I can't tell the difference in blue or black cars. That's a running joke in our relationship, that I can't tell the difference between a blue and a black car.
Yeah, I meant to ask you if you saw the blue Ford sitting on the hill for sale down the road today. It was a black Ford, just like the one I used to drive.
Well, he already told you. The police got to me. I called the non-emergency number, and they got to me super, super fast. I called him, called my dad, since I was driving their vehicle, and he told me what he wanted me to do. But after my dad worked on the car, it ended up being an electrical issue. The car didn't run hot. There wasn't anything that could have been done differently. Some type of electrical issue where something burned up. It burned up the alternator when it happened. It totally killed the alternator. And so there was no hope for jumping it off or doing anything like that. But a scary situation that could have been worse, but thankfully was fine. And then lady got to go out to eat for the first time ever.
Yeah.
We went to an Indian restaurant down the street and got some curry. It was delicious. And lady thought, we sat out on the patio, and she thought she was in a super dog costume, by the way. She had on a little dress. I took her so that the kids at church could see her. But she had on a little super dog cape and dress.
Yeah. And she was super. She was very good while we were out.
Lady.
We were very thankful to the folks at Sitar Indian Restaurant in Tuscaloosa for letting us sit on the patio with Lady.
I don't know what she's doing. Look at this. What is she doing?
Yeah.
She's climbing up. She has discovered she can smell the treats that are up here on the table. All these goodies.
Yeah.
All of this stuff.
Especially
like,
the everything.
Yeah,
bagel
the everything bagel stuff
seasoning.
smells so good.
It really does. Y'all, we've bragged about several of our friends tonight who do stuff just really well, and so I want to brag on a couple of more of our friends. The folks at Haas Tools, Greg Key, who is Haas, right, and Sheila Key. They run Haas Tools. It is a family operation, small business in Georgia, and we're affiliates for them, so we do suggest their products and have links that we get commission for if we make sales. But also, I've not experienced a company that I order things from that come in the mail that has such good customer service and that really cares about their customers and such high quality products as with Haas Tools. I mean, they have blown me away over the last year and a half, 2 years or so that I've been ordering stuff for them from the farm since before we were even close to being affiliates. But I wanted to show y'all that I got my onion sets from them, and I got a variety pack with 3 different types of onions in it. And here's the Vidora onion sets, and you can see, sorry, I'm dropping dirt on the table and into our goodie bag there. But you can see here, this is like 30, at least 30. How many do you think that is?
At least 30.
At least 30.
It looks more like 40 to me.
This is the leftovers. So they promise, or they tell you to expect like 50 onion sets when you order the live plants from them. And this is the leftovers from the onion sets. And now these sets, I bought a 3-pack. I ordered them without them knowing that it was going to an affiliate. And I do that a lot. And one of the reasons I do that is so that I know exactly what it's like when people get the products that we suggest. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting any special treatment or anything like that when I tell you about these onion sets. And so I planted at least 75 of this particular onion set, and there's still 30 something left at least. So that it was like 100 onions in this one set. In fact, I had so many left over onion wise that I ordered thinking I was going to be able to plant 2 rows of onions, and so I planted those. I got the onions out and counted them and had them ready to go with 2, and I said, I'm going to have a lot left over. Let's see if I can do a 3rd line. And so I was actually able to do rows of each of the varieties because I had so many left over from spacing them out for the 2 rows. So I had my 3 rows, and then I realized I was going to have so many left over I could do a 4th row, mixing them all together. And as y'all can see, I could do another row between that one, and these are the Sapello onions, and all of these are Vidalia onions that I got, and so that's probably what, 15 or 20 there.
Probably 20, yeah.
20, and so 30 and 20, 50. That's about a row for us.
What are we gonna do with those?
I don't know yet. We've been getting some raised beds together here in the last few days,
Yeah.
or the last couple of weeks or so.
Oh gosh, Tracy. I just thought of something. Tracy's got to get on to you.
About what?
So we put out a video last week about our future window greenhouse spot that we're doing, and how we're doing raised beds. We're going to do raised garden beds all in front of the greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I called it my potager garden. The future spot of my potager garden. All right.
Definitely know where this is going.
All right. So he told me, Jacqueline, this was after I put the video out. Jacqueline, you have to be careful saying potager because that's a specific garden style. It's beauty and it's food. It's flowers and food. And I texted Tracy because you know what my reaction was? Zach, do you not think I know what a potager garden is? How many times have I been to Tracy's house?
I know.
I have been to Petals from the past. I watched Cog Hill Farm.
Well, we have
Like-
a lot of friends that are doing the potager garden
Yeah.
thing, and like they're
I know
very
what
high
it
quality.
is.
I mean, Tracy at least. So we have at least one friend already who Tracy has helped with the potager garden, and then
Well, that's
there
what
are
she
several.
does. She does garden
I know that's what I'm
design.
saying. Well, she designed our friend's potager garden, and then on top of that, there are more people that we're friends with that are getting these professionally designed potager gardens, and so
No, I
was
just
like,
had a moment. I just had a moment where I was like, please tell me you don't think that I don't know what a potager garden
I
is.
know, but I didn't want to use the term if we weren't going to
It's gonna have
really go
food
after it.
and flowers and rose arches.
Mm-hmm.
My tulip bulbs came in, by the way, by 350 tulip bulbs. I'm so excited to put those all over the place, and they're not they're pretty much annuals in Alabama. We don't get cold enough for them to go through their process.
You could dig them up and put them in the freezer, but
Yeah.
that's a lot.
So my purpose for those is going to be to sell them this spring. There are some local florists and a flower truck that told us last year, if you grow flowers, we'll buy them. And I didn't grow any flowers for anybody to buy. And so I was getting ahead, and I've got 350 tulips that will be planted in raised beds in order to sell them with the bulb attached. Like, whole thing will go. And they'll be ready around Mother's Day and Easter. So it's gonna be fun. And maybe it'll fail, maybe it'll be successful. I don't know. I try things, we do things. If we don't try, then
Yeah.
you don't know. Something may stick. I may end up loving that aspect of things, and I may say I'm never doing that again. It's how we
Well,
learn.
I think we may try a few onions in some of those raised beds
Yeah.
that we've been working on.
Oh, you mean like food in a potager garden?
Yeah. Listen to her. She's gonna get me for that one
It's
over
not-
and over again.
It's not gonna go away.
So, so let's see here. We have a couple of folks talking about my pronunciation of Vidalia. They're saying it's Vidalia.
That's not what they are, is it?
No, well, they're all three different varieties of those. Vidalia is how they're saying it. So this is how I'll explain myself. So from the east,
these are called Vedoras.
Yeah, that.
I'm just saying that's what's on it.
Yeah, so
you weren't saying that wrong.
Starting in Georgia. Okay, for y'all, east is this way, right? And then west this way.
West.
So we got east, we got Georgia, right? And that's where Vidalia is, right? That's so all of the Vidalia onions came from that particular area. That's where they were developed, and to be technically a Vidalia onion, and I'm pronouncing it right for now. It has to be grown there as well, and so our starts came from that region, and so we can call them that. So the Vidalia is what it's called here in Georgia, east over here. Now, as you go this way, you get towards Mississippi, and we all know about Mississippi, right?
Stop.
I'm kind of kidding. I'm kind of kidding about that. But in Alabama, you hear the joke a lot of time. Thank God for Mississippi. It makes it where Alabama's not last in everything except for football all the time. But I'm sorry. If you're from Mississippi, it's a funny thing that I do a lot. I'm not going to tear you down. But anyway, so as you get closer to Mississippi, you're going to get the mispronunciation there. And so you got Vidalia is how they're saying it. And here it's Vidalia. And there, who knows what they say. But let's see. I'm getting some hey
You're
nows.
gonna offend people from Mississippi.
I know.
We have friends in Mississippi. You gotta stop.
Here's the thing, though. I have been from West Alabama all my life, except for about 3 years here and there. And I've lived in might as well be Mississippi, Alabama, an awful lot of that time. So, and by that I mean West Alabama, very close to Mississippi. So I won't say much. I will say it's my least favorite place to drive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The interstate is very different once you hit the state line. But I used to drive through Mississippi a lot going up to Memphis when I was in seminary. And so there are a few places in Mississippi that I will say that I have enjoyed, and there are a few places in Mississippi that I have experienced it's been poor experiences. I think New Albany is where I actually passed my first kidney stone. Fun fact.
That was rough.
On my way back from a seminary class.
That was so rough. At a Taco Bell.
Yep. Oh, Taco Bell in New Albany, Mississippi. There is a piece of me there. Or I left a piece of me there. I hope it's not there anymore. Let's see here. People are saying they agree.
Interstate in Mississippi. Yeah.
They agree about the interstate in Mississippi. Also, we got a roll tide there, and that's fair.
What else did we want to share? I can't think.
I don't know.
I think we went through my whole list.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? If you've got questions, put them in there. We'll talk for a little bit longer and let those questions kind of roll in if you have any. Yeah. Let's see here. So, let's see. Best place to pass one. Bruce said the best place to pass a kidney stone's in Taco Bell. I can only assume he meant Taco Bell and not New Albany, Mississippi. Yeah. But it wasn't the worst place, that's for sure. It wasn't great. Is there a good place? Anyways, so...
I did... I got a Thanksgiving turkey.
Oh, yeah!
So the holiday dance, right, of who's making what, who's bringing what, can't have any duplicates. Now, our families, they're very laid back. And we are planning Thanksgiving late this year. Zach's dad, can I share that?
Yeah.
Zach's dad had he actually had open heart surgery a few weeks ago, and so Zach has been helping out with that. We had some flu in our house, so he wasn't able to go and help as much as we had planned because we didn't want to expose him. But his dad's been recovering from a open heart surgery, and so Thanksgiving holiday is going to look different with his family this year. And then my family, my parents have my aunt and uncle in their house because their house is being renovated right now, and so things are just a little different. We've hosted Thanksgiving the last 2 years though, and I wasn't planning on us hosting it this year. Everything is still up in the air. So all that said, we have so much up in the air. I was like, I will get Thanksgiving turkey. I will do that. I will make that my responsibility. Guess how many turkeys we have for Thanksgiving? We have 2 huge turkeys, full-size turkeys, coming to my family's Thanksgiving. And so we have double bought turkey. So if you've got any good turkey recipes that you really, really love, send them my way, because I'm going to be cooking ours and putting it up for us. And the other person that got a turkey is going to be bringing theirs to Thanksgiving, which is totally fine. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know anybody got a turkey. We usually get smoked turkey breasts either from a local youth group or through the fire department. We support the fire department fundraiser. But I didn't hear anything about those this year, and so I decided to get a whole pasture-raised turkey from Chestnut Hills Farmstead, since we were just out there with them, and I've got to pick that up, and I'm looking forward to it fresh, never frozen. I think they're processing them on Saturday, and then they're leaving on Sunday, so I'm going to be probably roasting that turkey whole, and they were estimating them to be around 16 to 18 pounds. So, and we just saw them.
They were good looking turkeys. We were there Sunday, and then also Chestnut Hills put out a video of them moving the turkeys and chickens onto fresh grass just this week, maybe Monday or yesterday. And so I synced that turkey, and it looked good. So they
may still have a few more. If you're local in Central Alabama and want one, just reach out to them on Facebook. I know I got one of the last couple that they were going to be processing, but I'm looking forward to having a pasture raised turkey from somebody that we know for Thanksgiving.
I think Chestnut Hills may be doing chickens right now. Like not anytime, like in the next couple months they'll have chickens maybe.
Well,
but
in
I don't know
the
if
next few weeks. In the next few weeks they'll have chickens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she told me that their meat chickens had 2 to 4 weeks left.
See,
but they may all be spoken for.
Yeah, that's true.
They have done really well with their pastured meat.
Yeah.
And I know they'll have pigs. And they have a ton of baby pigs right now.
They do.
To grow.
Yeah. And Jacqueline did warn Eleanor before we went to Chestnut Hills about that most of the animals there are edible.
Edible. And you know what she said? She just said, I don't want to. She said, they're not going to do it while I'm there, are they? And I said, no. They're not going to do it while you're there. And she just doesn't want to see it. She's totally fine with it. She knows where her meat comes from. She knows beef comes from cows, and chicken comes from chicken, and turkey comes from turkey. And we're having fish for dinner, but she knows where all of it comes from. She was telling one of her little friends today at school. But I'll be making dressing. Cornbread dressing. I saw a meme earlier that was like, people in the South, stuffing and dressing are not the same thing. They're absolutely not even close to the same thing.
Nope.
But I had some really good, somebody at the school could cook, because I had some really good turkey and dressing today.
I'm so jealous.
Oh, it got me fired up for Thanksgiving. I'm ready.
Yep.
I'm ready.
I had to be in the office today, so I didn't get to go to Thanksgiving lunch, but
yeah.
That's all right. I told Jacqueline earlier, I said I was kind of bummed about not being able to go to Thanksgiving lunch. I mean, obviously, kind of bummed anytime I don't get to do something special with Eleanor, and especially Eleanor and Jacqueline. But I have absolutely no complaints about my day job. I mean, I work with people that I love to be around, and the flexibility on the schedule is fantastic. And being able to work from home some is great, and so I could not ask for a better work situation. So no complaints from me, even if I did miss Thanksgiving lunch.
We are really blessed.
Yes.
Very, very blessed.
Yeah, that's Sue says that's exactly what I say. So Sue doesn't want to have the animals prepared right in front of her either.
Yeah. Having done that, we process. Oh, here comes Eleanor. Hey, baby.
I want a bag of chips.
Okay.
I don't want chips like that.
Whatever you can get to is fine. Or would you rather have the rest of a roll? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're about to get off here, so I can fix dinner. But
I'm gonna eat much because I'm
okay. Having we process our extra roosters. We hatch a lot of chicks in the spring, and if we can tell that a chick is a rooster, we keep it rather than shipping it off to a customer. Unless somebody says they want roosters, most of the time people don't. And something about our hatchery, we say that we are an ethical and a no-kill chick hatchery. We give everything the opportunity to grow up and to have a purpose, whether that is going to another person's farm to be a breeding rooster for them, or staying with us and being a breeder for us, or being a pretty yard ornament for somebody, because there's a lot of people that just like to have pretty roosters around, and we have a lot of those that come out of our chicks. But we give everything the opportunity to grow up. And if it doesn't fit any of the things I've just said, where it can't find a home somewhere, and we've tried, then we will raise them up to between 6 and 8 months old. Our Wyandottes, they're an excellent dual-purpose breed. They're gorgeous. They are great layers. And then the roosters are, they're the biggest, weight-wise birds. That the breed that we have on the farm, that's a pure breed. And so we processed, I don't remember how many, but total we've done probably around 30 roosters or more. So most of them find homes, which is wonderful. And I did sell some this spring that we did not need for ourselves to process. We still had plenty. I sold some this summer to somebody else who was gonna use them for a little bit of everything that I mentioned. Some breeders, some pets, and then some process. But having done that, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's not something I like to do, but too many roosters is a dangerous thing for your hens and for each other. Not that they fight all the time, but they're going to compete for food. That is the biggest thing that we have seen. They're going to consume food with zero purpose if they stay on your farm. They're just going to consume food, and they're going to keep others from getting to food. You're always going to have several scrawny looking roosters at the bottom of the totem pole. So we separate them, feed them well, and then process them. And I don't enjoy it either, Miss Sue. I don't enjoy it. And I do say feathers, and I have a big box of feathers in the barn. I will share with y'all. I actually saved some pelts. I'm gonna call them pelts from some of the roosters that we processed earlier this year. I had seen how you could salt brine the pelt and preserve it, not fully as in tanning it, because that involves a totally separate process, but that you could dry it and preserve the feathers the way they were, and I did that, and they are beautiful. I didn't have a purpose for them, so they were still in a box in the barn. And we have our free range flock that has been laying eggs hidden in the barn everywhere. And can you guess where a chicken decided was the best place to lay her eggs and then go broody?
Yeah, I mean, she probably isn't wrong. It's got to be the warmest place in the barn.
Oh, it's absolutely well insulated and warm. It's a box of like 4 feather pelts and then more feathers. And she has just made her a nest. It'll be in tomorrow's video. As long as I didn't mess up my sound, I filmed her in there. Lady had to show me where she was.
Yeah.
Lady.
Well, and with the processing stuff, I don't enjoy the like killing part, but I would much rather go through the process of processing a rooster, especially one, I mean, from our farm, because to this point we've only had heritage breed chickens. And so what that means is that it's an older breed of chicken that is not a hybrid bred for, right, well, it's so, but my point is that it's not a hybrid that's been bred to be super big, or grow super fast. And there's,
we haven't had any Cornish yet. We haven't had any Freedom Rangers, Red Rangers. Haven't had any hatchery bred meat birds.
And I don't have anything against using those birds for meat, but what I was saying was I would rather take one of our roosters that's grown for 6 to 8 months,
or even longer, because we've processed year-old too.
And that doesn't make for the best quality meat, but I would rather do that than go to the store and get a bird that was 8 weeks old when it was processed, that may have never walked really, or may have never even had solid food. Sometimes they're on a completely water soluble diet.
Well, and for us, we know they had a good life.
Yeah, exactly.
We know they had a beautiful life.
Because even when we process chickens, and y'all, I know this sounds crazy, but even when we process chickens, those chickens were loved while they were here on the farm. We thoroughly enjoy having them around. We treat them like pets. And now I know that there's got to be a line somewhere between the two, between pets and then animals that are, well, let's just stick with the word edible. I just like that. And so,
I don't know why it makes me laugh.
I think that I would rather do that than get a factory raised chicken, right? And now we very well may do some broilers this year, and that's what we call any breed that's made just for meat. We may try that this coming year, just to see if we can feel good about raising some that way, or raising some of those breeds. If we can find a way that we feel is ethical and humane, then we may do that.
And going to Nick and Zoe's place at Chestnut Hills, that's the first time I have been physically where somebody is raising Cornish cross birds, and they do an excellent job of, they say it themselves, they have really active birds, and they're not letting them get overweight to where they're not moving around and they're having heart attacks, and there are negative effects for how fast they grow. They have very, very healthy birds, and so that made me more confident that I would be open to doing that. Yeah. But in order to do that, I would have to eat everything that's already in the freezer.
Yeah,
and that's what we've said. We don't have a purpose to grow, harvest, process anymore for ourselves until we eat what we have. And what it has made us do is we eat less meat. We really do, and Eleanor does. I've had to supplement her diet and make sure she's totally fine with bacon. She's totally fine with bacon, but she's not a chicken nugget kid.
No.
She's absolutely not a chicken nugget kid. She would rather eat tons of fruit.
Yeah.
Or
She
nuts and
used
stuff.
to love chicken.
Oh yeah, used to be all about it, and I definitely
Some of
think
it has to do with
it absolutely does.
Chickens as pets and raising chickens.
That her friends are chickens, and I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's totally fine.
Well, in my whole life, I was taught to see the value in life in general, and part of that is recognizing that a life was given, an animal's life was given to get that meat, to harvest that meat. And so my entire life, I've tried not to waste when it comes to meat, because that was given. And even the handful of times that I've been, say, deer hunting, and I've only been the one holding the rifle a couple of times. I'm a much better chaperone for those things.
No, you're not a good chaperone.
So, what are you talking about? So I've taken my brother several times when he was younger to youth hunts. That's where he got his first deer and his second deer and maybe his third deer. But even then, something that I tried to teach my brother when we went on those hunts together was we don't express a great pride in that deer's death, and we don't make jokes about it or anything like that. We're somber, we are serious, we're thankful. And even I'm this way even with fish. When I go fishing and I harvest a fish out of a body of water to eat, my buddy Steven that was my roommate in college witnessed this a while back. Normally I'm alone when I'm filleting a fish, but as I dispatch a fish, I say thank you multiple times. Because I want to remind myself that it's something to be thankful for, and it's something to value. And so all that to say that the experiences that we've had on the farm with animals that may wind up being processed for food purposes, spending that time with them has just deepened that feeling. And so we don't eat as much meat. We don't waste nearly as much meat. We hardly waste any meat at all. And that's a big part of that is just the value that we place on life in general, even when it's an animal's life.
We've had part of good pond management when you're managing the fish in your pond is to continually pull out smaller bass. If you have largemouth bass in your pond, you're supposed to pull out anything under like 1.5 pounds or a pound in order to take in order to allow the bigger fish to have more fish to eat. There's less competition with food. That's what I was trying to say. To give more food for the bigger fish. And we can't even do that.
Yeah.
I cannot bring myself. There are a few reasons. So when we catch a fish that's under 1 pound, 1.5 pounds, most people call it banking them. They'll just throw them on the bank. They let them die. And I can't do it. I can't do it. We probably caught 90 in our first, I don't know, 3 or 4 months living here that we should have banked so that the other fish could continue getting bigger, and I just can't bring myself to do it. And I don't want to draw the predators that would come and eat the banked fish to where we are. I would have to dig a hole. If I ever did it, I would have to dig a hole and bury them, and even then we would be drawing raccoons and possums, and so I can't bring myself to do that. But we don't have any problem with any of that kind of stuff. Anybody that does, you've cleaned fish, like you're saying, we eat fish. It's not that we're not vegetarians, we're not vegans, we like food, but we are mindful about what we consume, and I feel like that's something that is being talked about a lot more. Like, I feel like society went really far in one direction in consuming, and now you have a big movement of back to more minimalistic, more down home, more, a lot more thought going into what we're eating.
Food was more scarce and more expensive before the kind of industrialization of food. And so as our society industrialized food, it got to the point where food was cheaper and more readily available as definitely meat and other sources of protein. And so now that we've kind of overshot, we make way more food than what we need. We produce way more food than what we need, and so much goes to waste. Because it's seen as such a commodity, we as especially as capitalists, we have a really hard time providing food for those who are in need of it. And so we do have some redirecting, I think, in society to find where we overshot. And yeah, our friends at Chestnut Hills Farmstead said quality went down drastically. That's right. There's a huge difference in an animal that you raise yourself and an industrialized meat and that sort of thing. But yeah, somebody asked earlier when the hatching eggs.
I saw that.
When the eggs in the incubator will hatch.
That's going to be the last thing that we answer, y'all. Apparently, we can talk for a while because we've been on here almost 2 hours.
Well, we knew that.
Yeah, we knew we can talk a lot.
Between the two of us.
So Eleanor and I put in silky eggs and Moran's eggs in our little incubator. It's over here, and they are set to hatch on December 5th. So next Monday, y'all will get an update. We're going to candle them, see like what we're seeing. When I'm hatching chicks, I really don't candle them. So it'll be interesting to see what is going on in those eggs, and we will share that with y'all in next Monday's video. And then the next Monday there'll be another update, and that one will show a lot in the eggs. There'll be a lot of development, and then the next Monday they will hatch. I cannot believe that we are that close to December already.
Yep.
We're planning our Sunday school class holiday party. We've got Christmas party. We've got a lot coming up in our personal lives and in what we share with everybody else. But we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you for joining us for, I'm going to do Peak of the Week. Thanks for joining us for Peak of the Week. We're going to go cook dinner. I hope the weather's not too bad where you are and that you have a great weekend, a blessed weekend. And we will see you next Wednesday. And our Thursday video will come out in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
They'll be able to hear it. I just won't use the parts
we
if I
may
didn't
have to do
sound.
some voiceover work.
We'll
tonight.
see. We'll see.
Yep.
Thank y'all for being with us.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm going to put up a graphic here at the end of the live because
we don't cut off.
Yeah, we've noticed that when people end their lives, a lot of times it will cut off before everybody gets to see the end of the video. So that's why from about here on out, it's just going to be an ending graphic for a few minutes. We'll leave that streaming so that people can see the end of the video. Thanks so much for being here, farm friends.
Thank y'all.
Y'all have a good one.